Proverbs 2:1, my son, if you receive my words and treasure my commands within you. Proverbs 3:1 says, do not forget the law. Do not forget my law, but let your heart keep my commands. Proverbs 4:1, hear my children, the instructions of your father, and give attention to know understanding. Today I'm going to speak about wrestling. Why would a kind God allow us to wrestle? In the book of James 1, from 2 to 4, it says, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Patience under pressure perfects you. I wanted to know why God would put such a verse in the Bible for a long time. Wrestling develops great strength, power, and force. There is no God like our God. He designed a system for us to win. In Psalms 33:8-9, it says, let all the earth fear him. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spoke, and it was done. He commanded, and it stood fast. Do you know that most areas we have dysfunctions and trauma in is the area we have to wrestle in? So why did God allow it? So that we can have great strength, power, and force in the areas that we were traumatized in and had dysfunctions. Ephesians 3:14-16 says, Paul prayed a prayer. He said, for this cause I bow my knees to the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, from whom the whole family in heaven and earth is named, that he would grant you according to the riches of his glory to be strengthened with might through his spirit in the inner man. So wrestling can develop you into whom you were born to be. Wrestling will develop you in the inner man. I have a nephew that was traumatized by a teacher. He was left-handed, and she will constantly tell him and make him use his right hand. And you would think what impact that would have on his future as at that preschool age. So here this person is making him feel, she's giving him the message that being left-handed is limited and he will not be effective in life. So he grew up, joined the army, and at that time he was at a level of full corporal. So one day at his house, I saw a picture of him on the bedroom wall with a big gun strapped across his chest. And I said to him, could you really use that thing? His answer to me was, Auntie, that is a toy. He so mastered it, he felt as though it's like a toy. It's the same way God will cause the areas we were traumatized in, the areas we were dysfunctional in, and cause us to say, that is like a toy. I want to see another area of wrestle. One day I was praying and the Lord was showing me a pattern about our family, our bloodline. So the firstborn male that breaks the womb. My firstborn, was a genius. Very advanced for his age. It's as though they come with their own manual. Very self-disciplined and intelligent. At the age of even at about 9, he was interested in things like world news, reading newspaper. Reading was his thing. Very intelligent at a genius level. and things of that nature. But he did not make it. He died. I believe he was killed by witchcraft. One day, running with a big bottle in his hands. This is how he died. He was running. No, he didn't die at that time. But one day, the first incident was he was running with a big bottle in his hands. And he fell. And he fell on top of the bottle. The bottle was broken and it cut his stomach. And his insides fell out. Luckily for him at that time, there was a lady there. She pushed the insides back into him, banded it up until he got medical help. Now, I believe that woman was a spiritual person that was able to do that. So he went to the hospital, got better. Later, after some time, he swallowed a tamarind seed. And that is what killed him. His life was not normal, and his death was not normal. My grandmother and the family just said, well, children of that kind of brilliance don't usually live long. That is a lie from the pit of hell. Some people think because a child is that brilliant, they can't live long. It's not true. It is not true. But because they could not explain what happened, they said it like that. Years later, my firstborn grandson, my nephew, same kind of self-discipline, same kind of intelligence. He loved books. But thank God he did not die. He went on to become an actuary, and his secondary school library is named after him. The areas of negativity we should wrestle in. So in this case, a barren person, let's say a barren person in that family, or somebody having struggles with infertility, could wrestle and restore fully because the firstborn died. The firstborn in our family, my brothers and sisters, died because of that intelligence. The gifting might not be as potent as it was supposed to be. So let's say somebody having infertility in that same family, the reason God could allow it is to cause the wrestling to restore fully the giftings of the firstborn male. Wrestling, God allows to redeem in areas we feel traumatized or dysfunctional in. There was one time a young man in my church who was so zealous. This is another area of wrestling. And there was a young man in my church who was so zealous. He said, I'm going to close down every Obia or voodoo house. You see, God is looking for workers. And sometimes we shoot out of our mouths things because of at the moment we feel all this emotional stuff and we shoot things out of our mouth. God is looking for workers. So you know what God will do? He'll come in agreement with that statement. God takes us seriously. Some of the things we say and think, well, God, if you do this for me, I will serve you. God takes those things very seriously. So what would happen to that young man he will find himself dealing with witchcraft, dealing with it at times. Why? To cause a wrestling to take place. To cause a wrestling. And that area he has wrestling in could become the formula and most likely solve a problem in his family. I experienced that in my own life. One time in praise and worship. In praise and worship could be such a beautiful thing. So I was experiencing this beautiful moment with God, this, and out of my mouth I said to the Lord, I want to experience your love. As though I wasn't experiencing it. It dies in what I was experiencing, his love. But I said to the Lord, I want to experience your love. I really want to, with my whole being, to experience your love. I said this to the Lord. I want to experience your love. It felt so good in that praise and worship. You know what happened? Someone I was close to at that time began to try to destroy me. Lied, attacks, so much attacks, was trying to destroy my life. When I found out, all I felt to do to that person was I held her. I felt like protecting her. I felt like protecting her from the world. I felt, to just cover her. When I came home, I started to shake like a leaf. What was that? I asked God to experience his love. So God was saying, this is how my love functions best. To love the unlovable. There are different areas of wrestling. But God is the one who designed the system so that we will be more than conquerors. We will win. My formula for today is keep your joy under pressure. Count it all joy. This is Eastland Bikram Singh saying, God's formula, God's wisdom.